Good to see you.
So have you guys shown your children the Everybody Talks video, Chris? Or have you held off on that? Does he like it? Because my
He
aunt
knows
had
the
nightmares.
words to so many of the songs.
I mean, that's not the point. I'm talking about the zombie video.
It's too intense.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think about it, and I just showed it to my kids thinking like, oh, it's fun. And then Anna had nightmares for like weeks, and now I can't show it to them. So, whoops.
I kind of fast forwarded past the bikers at the beginning when I first showed it to him.
The Jennifer's body of it all, when she like opens her, when she bites one of the kids, is kind of scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hello, everyone watching. We are Neon Trees, of course. Hopefully you know that by clicking on this episode of what we're doing.
What if you don't? Welcome.
Yeah. Of course, we have Elaine Bradley, drummer of Neon Trees. We have Chris Cordley Allen, guitar player of Neon Trees, and Mr. Brandon Campbell, bass player extraordinaire of Neon Trees. And I'm Tyler Glenn. We haven't been in the same room for many months.
February, right?
Yeah. And we had a lot planned on our calendar. Briefly give like a couple words describing how your time in quarantine has been, because it's been different for everyone, I'm sure.
Oh, me? Yeah, sure. I'd love to give a few words. Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
I have had just the best time. To describe what I've been doing, I've been hanging out with my husband and children. Woo!
Yeah. And that speaks to probably, the past where you didn't have as much time and access to your family. So
So just to put it in perspective, I was home for the longest consecutive amount of time ever in our marriage. And we got married in 2010. So in 10 years, I have not been home this much. So it's pretty exciting.
Despite being like almost unemployed right now,
right?
I've been like busier than ever. I've been building a wall in between the main bedroom and our daughter's bedroom. And I've been writing music. I've been doing physical therapy with my grandma who broke her hip. Just so much stuff. All the time, nonstop.
So would you say a word would be, I don't know, fraught or chaotic or?
It's stressful. It's chaotic. It's nice having so much time at home.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things.
Yeah, I would say for me, it's been pretty lonely and isolating. It also reminds me how much of a social person maybe I am, but I always consider myself more of a recluse. So I'm good at that. But for me, it's been the flip of all of you guys. I think not being around enough people, and I think that can be bad for your brain too. But
there's always too much of even something you like.
That's right. Yeah. And then Brandon.
There's been ups and downs, I think, with everyone, like enjoying the extra time home. I think in our career and being traveling musicians, you always anticipate, that you're leaving again soon. So when you're home, you love that time. And so for, being able to have extra time and, do a variety of things with family has been awesome. But it's also been very hard. I mean, we've been so excited to share all this new music with everybody and to get back at what we love doing. And it's like we just have this cool space launch happening, and we had the launch pad ready, and we're there, and we're hiking out in our astronaut suits out to the launch pad. And it's like, okay, well, hold on, we're gonna delay the launch. And then it's like, okay, well, now no launch until who knows when.
I'd venture to say the word launch is kind of anticlimactic these days, but yeah, and I think it's important. You brought up, we have a new record, obviously. I think it's important to sort of catch up a little bit on the past. Obviously, people that are fans of ours probably know the story, but often or not, I hear from media or the casual fan that why has it taken 6 years since a record? As if everything you do that doesn't sort of chart the same way or reach the same peaks is negated.
I think even last night I was reviewing some texts from a producer that we worked with a couple years ago, 3 years ago. and you know, with stuff that we thought we were going to put out, and it just like we were working towards it, and then we realized there was a bigger plan, a bigger picture to what we needed to be doing, and there was just a lot of necessary things, and yeah, and it was just, and those were hard decisions to make, you know, because no one wants to do anything that's going to make you wait longer after you've been waiting anxiously, you know, to play and get out there. But yeah, it was just a lot of necessary things, a lot of that, you know, I always say the boring behind the scenes stuff, you know, people always
Well, so
want
we
fun
did a
music.
tour in 2015, and that's essentially our last actual tour, even though we've played hundreds of shows since.
Right.
What was that tour like for us? For me, I thought it was fun because we were playing shows for our true fans. We had called it an intimate night. How was it for you, Elaine? What was your experience 5 years ago in
Yeah.
Neon Trees?
I was very pregnant. So
Yep.
that's weird that the last time we toured was when I was pregnant with my almost 5-year-old. You know what I mean?
Right.
She turns 5 in August, and that's like we toured up through July. So
Oh,
that
yeah.
was
I
something.
remember that Evan, our drum tech at the time, putting towels on your neck, you know, in between songs or kind of towards the end of the set.
That was in that off, wasn't it Portland, where the air
Yeah.
conditioning had gone out in the club, and so it was like we were afraid I was going to overheat. We were like so afraid of my like heat stroke affecting my baby. So that was why. But the thing that he did was take one of those hemorrhoid rings, those ultra heavy duty hemorrhoid rings, and tape it down to my stool, because not because I had hemorrhoids, but because my tailbone, because of all the extra weight, because we had long sets, we were headlining, it was like a good hour and a half. So my tailbone was getting bruised for those first rehearsals. And I was like, Evan, what can I do? I got to sit down this whole time. And like a lot of pressure's on your tailbone because your limbs are moving. So it's not like you can like take weight off that way. So yeah, he got me one of those ultra heavy duty rings and taped it down. And we used that the whole tour.
Yeah.
Not to
I
mention,
hope you use that next tour.
Yeah.
not to
hope
mention
not.
that was
I don't
the
want to have
first.
hemorrhoids.
No, you don't have to have hemorrhoids to sit on one of those.
What were you going to say, Tyler?
I was just gonna say, not to mention that's not the first time you played very pregnant.
No, that was the
in this
second
band.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no, that was the second time. But that was, I mean, it's fine. You know what I mean? Like,
fans
a
have
few
had
adjustments.
been treated to the
The fifth member.
I hate to even say it, the circus show, but it's a bit of like an extra feature. Look at the really pregnant woman slam on the drums. I think it probably
No, especially
added.
if they come like, you know, they come like, they don't see you walk out and get behind the drums, or they don't, or maybe it's a little dark. And so you're just rocking that set, and then you stand up and there's the baby bump.
Oh yeah.
Love that.
So
Yeah.
then obviously some things happened in the interim. I released a record. You started in a couple different groups, Elaine. You know, families were also started, and we were ready to release a record. I think this fourth record, well, maybe not ready, but ready to like get into the mindset of another record, probably 2017 with Feel Good, with the songs surrounding Feel Good. I think there were probably 5 or 6 that we had sent in. What was I'll say, as my sort of perspective in rear view on Feel Good, I love the song. I think it's got a really cool energy, but I know as a writer, I wanted it to feel like a bona fide Neon Tree song. And I recognize now the difference between that and maybe what the headspace in this new album. How were you all feeling in Neon Trees in 2017 when we were writing Feel Good and the songs surrounding sort of that single?
Well, I would say, you know, definitely overlooked by the label. You know, not to kick up dirt or anything. Obviously, like we did a lot of great things with people we've worked with in the past, and obviously, you know, had some hits, have some hits when, you know, they're never not hits now. But yeah, just, you know, it just, I think we saw the industry changing, and we saw just the revolving door that was happening at labels everywhere. And so it became a lot of like conveyor belt. And I remember with that single that it just kept getting pushed up, like, and now it's like, hey, if you want if you want us to work it or promote it, you have to turn it in tomorrow, you know, that kind of thing. And, you know, it was just, you know, I don't think it's a great spot for any band to be in. And, you know, ultimately led to our, you know, decision of parting ways, and you know, which was great. It's like those things that, like I said, there were hard decisions to make, but once we did and we realized where, you know, where we are now, it was the right thing, you know, and we're in such a better place, and still, like I said, still have mad respect for all the people that worked hard for us. And gosh, I'd say majority of them, or if not all of them, aren't even there anymore. You know, they're all different places spread out.
I don't think being in this band and this adventure that we've all been on for, I don't know, I would say more than 10 years. I know in publicly 10 years. We actually, I don't think we were ever destined to be the biggest band in the world, because I think we also come with a bit of our own, I'll say it. It may sound like stuck up to say, but I think we all have a bit of our own and too much integrity to like be the biggest band in the world. There's so, when you start to rub shoulders with what it takes to be at the level to appeal to everyone, I think at the end of the day, I think we care too much about how we're perceived to fake it to the point where we could not fake it, but just be that like every band.
Right. Yeah.
And I, in a weird way, think it's been to our benefit to stay, we're seemingly still this like big, small band. Like we're a big band that everyone knows and knows at least 2 or 3 songs, but doesn't know it all. We have a bit of anonymity, and we also have a bit of room to recreate and rewrite the story, which, you know, I don't know if that resonates with any of you, but that's how I've been able to kind of reframe the experience so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, I prefer more niche bands anyway, or maybe that's not the right word, but like I'm not listening to pop radio.
Yep.
Ever. And so I like that. I mean, I like that we've flirted with it a little bit over the years, because there's great elements from pop, obviously. But I like having a little more edge, and so it's benefited me, at least.
For your just personal taste.
And if people want to like it, then that's great. But I feel super blessed with the success that we've had, and I couldn't ask for more, and I don't need more. So I'm happy with the fans that we have, and if new people want to listen, then that's great.
Yeah, that whole era, I was trying to think of how I would describe it. And the imagery that comes to my mind is kind of like the false start scenario, but like, you know, like we were like the horses at the gate, like just ready for that gun to go off, you know? And it's like the gun kept on having to be like reloaded, and then a blank would be fired. And then like, you know, I felt like we were personally ready, and as a band, very anxious and willing to work. But kind of to speak to what Brandon said, is I don't think we were sure of like where to put all that effort, you know, like exactly how to attack, exactly what to do. And so it felt like for a few years there that we were just doing our best given the circumstances, but we didn't know what to do. And so I think it took the overt rebuilding of a team and the overt step back to say, okay, look at all the things we have done. Now let's flip the script and let's really set out, let's make an album. And I think it was good that we kind of tossed all the other stuff, because we, you know, Tyler, you'd been writing a bunch, there've been demos flying back and forth, and there was a lot of good stuff that I still like. But I think it was important for us to be able to get out of that mindset and out of that cycle of working, but not knowing what to do, to say, okay, let's put that away. Not even for good, just let's put it away for now, and let's refocus. You went to start, you know, going to write a bunch of fresh demos, and you sent fresh batches, and it was just like a press, you know, reset kind of thing. At least that's how it was for me. And so it felt like way more focused doing it that way, rather than trying to use all those old demos that didn't quite see the light of day. But it felt like a good hard reset. And I think it's exactly what we needed as a group to move forward, both the personnel reset and the like musical reset, just to be like, okay, let's start over.
Like a fresh theme as well.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
to put a cohesive album together and make sure all the pieces fall together. And I mean, it's such a big machine to roll out an album, you know, and to promote it properly. And yeah, so
I think too, like, it's important to point out to listeners and fans, like, we haven't just been, I wouldn't consider it selfish if we were just living our lives and not paying attention to the band for 6 years. I wouldn't consider that, because it's our lives.
Yeah.
At the same time, it is important to point out, like, there has not been writing. Like, there's been songs every year. It felt like, oh, this maybe is a collection, even in my mind. Like, so it isn't. It's important to. I think maybe for 6 months of us having to do some work to understand where we're at as humans, I think beyond that, we kind of mended and wanted to continue way earlier than it seems in 2020. Yeah. Like, now, and here we are in 2020 putting out the next album.
I was going to say that we've also, you know, with all this, and I think this is also what Elaine touched on, that just allowing ourselves to be selective with what we do. Because before, we would just say yes to everything because we weren't sure, you know, like, well, could this be the link to the thing that the next step, the next thing, and just, you know, kind of having our, you know, having ourselves in every little area, and now being able to be selective with, like, well, here's real direction for the band and everything. And I think that's been really a really helpful thing, you know, like, you know, people ask all the time, you know, like, people that want to know about music business. I know it's like, that's kind of behind the curtains type of thing. And a lot of bands don't talk about that because we just want to act like it just happens, right? Like, oh, it just like, we're just cool. And, like, you know, we didn't even try. But it's, you know, it's really, you know, having that mindset of, hey, it's okay to not do, you know, some things. And then just like, let's pick, you know, the certain shows that we want to do, and maybe, you know, work smarter instead of just like go.
I can attest to, at the time, though, I don't think it seemed like we had a lot of control, even though
I know,
we
yeah,
look back
yeah.
now and go, well, we were still doing things that we wanted to do. We still were able to, like, be active in the band. It just, you know, it was fraught with a lot of challenges.
Right.
Which brings us to our fourth album, our first in 6 years, Not for Not Trying.